Hello and welcome back to Cozy Talks. We hope you watched our recap of UFC 322, but this week we got UFC Qatar. Dan Hooker versus Arman Tsarukyan and Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad versus Ian Machado Garry.
Yep, card starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So it's gonna be an early card. They're over international. So
I'm gonna
yeah,
be in my PJs.
we're gonna be having a nice coffee in the morning, watching some UFC. We're excited for that. Before we get into it though, guys, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. We appreciate it. Share with MMA casual. Share with your buddies if they aren't casuals. Let them know what's up. We know ball. Hopefully you know ball. If not, you will know ball. Let's get into it though. We got the first fight on the prelim. We got the heavyweights. We got Denzel Freeman versus Mark. Fuck is that? Is that a line through it? Bujio. You see that? You see that?
Bujio,
Yeah, you see that? What is that? Hey, he's a Polish heavyweight.
Bujalo.
Bujlo. Uh, my pick in this one's Denzel Freeman.
Oh yeah.
Because a few things. Let's look at the records. Yes, 6-0. I'll just click on him. I'll show you this. Look at who this guy's fought. Look at the records. What do you notice here? Nothing but fucking cans. The guy with the most experience is the guy that was almost even after 25 fights. And he's obviously getting the finishes. He's obviously, got some power in his hands to get those finishes, but it's also like, you're kind of fighting very, very low level, fights. And then on the other side, we got Denzel Freeman, who was on LFA and PFL. And he finished Steven Asplin, who we just saw on Dana White's Contender Series. It was near the end of the season. He got a win. He's the guy that has like the super loose. I think that's the guy I'm thinking of. The guy that has like the super flabby skin. Lost a lot of weight.
Oh, yep.
I think that's
Yep.
Asplin. And then Hugo Kuna, who was also on Dana White Contender Series, beat them both by finish. So I got to favor the side of a heavyweight who is fighting some definitely better competition and is also getting the finishes against higher competition. Um, you know, as far as the size goes, he's gonna be the smaller fighter, but he's gonna be the heavier fighter, which I think is gonna play a key role here because Merrick's gonna definitely want to try and get this to the ground. I think Denzel is gonna try and keep this on the feet, but roles could be reversed here because he will be the heavier guy. Maybe he's going to want to lay on Merrick, but I don't know if he's going to want to engage him on the ground because Merrick does have a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I think this playing on the feet is best case scenario for Denzel. I see him probably getting an early finish, early knockout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta go with the American Denzel Freeman winning. And honestly, he might even be the underdog coming into this fight. Um, Also, he is a ex-Navy SEAL from what I have heard. They also from what I have heard, they train some pretty nasty MMA in the military. So I mean, you got Denzel Freeman, who is a dude who has that experience like you were talking about,
Mhm.
and
And the military
yeah,
savagery.
yeah. I mean, I see him getting a knockout win here over Mariq. I think Mariq what's gonna happen when Mariq goes for a takedown and Freeman's just like nah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's
Who
he's
knows,
he's
bro?
most definitely gonna be the heavier dude.
Mm.
I mean, Mariq is taller and he has a longer reach, but I feel like Freeman's just gonna bitch him.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I think it's just skill gap and competition that's gonna kind of be on display here. We're gonna see a guy
Yeah.
who, yeah, he's 6-0, but he's fought nobodies. And we got a guy who's 6-1. He lost Isaiah Pinson on a split decision over 2 years ago. But other than that, he's beating guys that are at the same level of him, if not better. But
Yeah, and I was sorry, I don't mean to cut you
you're good. I
off.
wasn't gonna say anything.
Um I was watching that dude AJ MMA experts. Shout out MMA experts. One thing he was talking about in this fight was that a lot of those his especially his last three Marik's last three wins, they were all ground and pounds. He kind of just like got his opponent to the ground and then they just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
According to the footage that AJ had watched over at MMA experts. But like I was saying, I don't know, I feel like Freeman could kind of avoid getting taken down and then just knocking his ass out.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Moving on, we got another guy out of Khabib's camp, Saeed Izagakmaev. Izagakmaev. I'm gonna try Saeed versus Nicholas Dalby. Seeing Nicholas Dalby down here this early in the scorecard, or in the scorecard, seeing him down here this early in the fight card is kind of crazy. He's off of a brutal KO loss to Randy Brown. Before that, he lost to Renat Fakhretdinov, two guys that I would rate very high as far as the competition goes. Randy Brown, we just saw him lose to Bonfim 2 weeks ago. Got knocked out by Bonfim to a knee to the head. My one thing I want to note here is Saeed has been very inactive. His last fight was pretty much 3 years ago. It was over. I was very well known fighter over on the one championship side, Shinya Aoki. He got the finish there. Uh, even being very inactive, he's still a fat favorite, and it's because of the camp he trains with and the style he brings.
I
Um,
mean,
it is an interesting dog though because of just the activity. Because that's one thing we always talk about is activity. But last time we saw someone who was very inactive, it was what's her name, Matsuki in the girl that fought
yeah, like Mizuku Inu or some shit.
yeah, and she came in and she just absolutely worked whoever she fought. I can't remember the name, but yeah, it could just be one of those things where either he had some sort of injury or he was just not fighting, and just because he was one of the training partners for Khabib in his fight against JDM. So he's obviously still in the gym, still active. He just hasn't been fighting, and he was scheduled to fight, but then that fight got called off, and then the UFC gave him a call, and now he's here. My pick in this one is Saeed, just because of the camp and just because of the style he brings. He's gonna bring that wrestling. He's gonna, I think he's gonna dominate Dalby. To be frank, I think he's gonna, either find a ground and pound or he's gonna find a sub.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect when it comes to these guys who are training? As soon as you said he's from Khabib's camp, like that's all you have to say pretty much.
Yeah.
Regardless if this guy hasn't fought in a while, has been inactive for a while, he is probably constantly training
Hmm.
in Khabib's camp, in his gym, that whole group of guys. I remember, I forget which fighter said it. I'm pretty sure it was DC, but some fighters said it and they were just like, just watch. Those Russian dudes are gonna take over the UFC and they're gonna take over MMA. They're gonna take over MMA in general. And yeah, we're most definitely seeing it. You know, if you don't have that heavy wrestling background, you're kind of cooked. So yeah, I gotta go with the guy who is training with Khabib. Is from Dagestan. Is literally from where Khabib and Islam are from. I bet this guy has been training ever since he turned 2 years old. So I got Saeed, and he's probably gonna get a submission win here.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving on, we get another interesting fight here. We get Naruto Aliev versus Shamrock. Uh, Shamrock, he's one of the training partners of Paddy Pimblett. Uh, on this fight card, there's two of them on this card. He's the first one on though. Shamrock, 32 years old. getting a Nurul Aliev who's undefeated in the UFC. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I want to go on the side of Shamrock, to be honest with you. I just think it'd be. I just want something interesting here because Nurul Aliev, he fought Joe Selecki. Joe Selecki is like a known jiu-jitsu guy, a known guard puller. And Nurullo was having a hard time with him. He got a split win, or not against him. Who was it? Maybe it's this one I'm looking at. It wasn't a split, but it was a majority against Alves, and Alves isn't very good. But then he comes in and gets the unanimous over Selecki. Selecki's not that good in my opinion. He's a good jiu-jitsu player inside the MMA cage. If Shamrock is trained with Patty, obviously he has a knack for grappling, because that's kind of what that gym is known for, is their high level grappling, as well as decent striking on the feet. I kind of just like this. I kind of just like the story here. If that gym can get some guys other than Patty into the UFC and get some decent competition out, that's kind of what I want to see. So I'm kind of definitely fading the favorite here, in Aliev.
Yeah, I mean, I most definitely see what you're talking about here. Shamrock most definitely has more submissions than was it like Aliev?
Aliev.
Aliev has 0. Shamrock has 9. Um one thing I'm seeing as well is like a lot of Aliev's wins, a
Decisions,
lot of
decisions,
them,
decisions.
yeah, they're decisions, and they're also against dudes who are coming into that fight with not a whole lot of experience.
Yeah.
I mean, his last few fights were against dudes with experience, Joe Solecki, Rafael Alves, and Josh Wick, all in the UFC. Mm,
Yeah, this could be a really boring fight if Aliev is able to just lay and pray and just use his wrestling. But
Yeah, but I mean,
Shamrock's alive for this sub.
yeah, you got a dude who's pretty active in finding submissions. Um, granted, a lot of them are by rear naked, but no, I agree with you. I might have to fade the favorite here and go with the massive underdog, or
Yeah,
not massive. I thought that was 350. It's only 250.
250. Not too crazy. It's still a significant underdog though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean 12-1.
And it's
You
his
know,
debut. It's his debut fight.
yeah,
So,
and you said he's training with Patty.
mhm.
Yeah, Patty's a pretty good fucking grappler, if I could say so.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We get the American wrestler Ryan Loder versus Ismail Naurdiev. When I first looked at this, I was definitely on the side of Ryan Loder, and I definitely am still on the side of Ryan Loder. I mean he was on what was he on what was it, Ultimate Fighter? And he beat Robert
Yeah,
Valentine.
I think he was the winner of Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. And he's just got insane ground and pound. When he's heavy on the top pressure when he's on top in top position, and he just has some nasty ground and pound. And I think if he's able to take down Naurdiev and control him, there's a very good chance that he probably just rides this out to a decision, or he finds the ground and pound finish. Like I was just saying.
Yeah.
This is another underdog that I'm taking a shot on, but it's one that I like a lot. The American wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, Ishmael, is that
I
how you
smell.
say his name?
Yeah, I smell.
Ishmael. One way to look at this is like he took Bruno Silva to decision.
Whoop.
Yeah, I
The,
most
the, the
definitely got
same
the.
Bruno Silva who beat Jung Young. Oh, wait, no. That's I'm thinking of the the flyweight Hyun Sung Park.
Oh, oh,
Hyun Sung Park. I'm
yeah,
sitting here like no, the other Bruno Silva.
yeah,
The Bruno
yeah,
Silva that got killed in the ring and had to get stretchered out.
yeah, him.
Yeah, that one.
Nah, I most definitely got the American winning this, dude. I got Ryan Loder as well. Um, I think I most definitely think he could get it done. I mean, his last fight was against Almakhan, and Bikoyev,
When he's not fighting dudes that are literal giants, he's a
yeah,
savage.
yeah. When Bikoyev isn't fighting a guy who has that fucking long ass reach and height on him,
Dude.
and he could get inside your pocket and take you down. Yeah, Bikoyev is finding that ground and pound finish, and he did that against Ryan Loder. But anyways, besides that, I think Ryan Loder could win this fight. I think he's gonna make Ishmael struggle with his American wrestling.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think Ryan Loder could possibly find a ground and pound knockout.
Mm.
I mean, I feel like he's an underdog just because he's coming off that knockout win against Bikoyev. But I mean, that's Bikoyev, brother.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a bad prospect. I think the guy he fought, usually was just really fucking good.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I like the pick there. Next fight, this is a tough one to pick. I was looking at this earlier. We got Begzat Almakhan versus Alexandre Topuria. It's easy to look at this and you see the last name Topuria and you're like, oh, pick him, pick him.
Hmm.
But I really like Begzat a lot, and he's coming off of a win. He beat Brad Katona, starched Brad Katona. I remember watching that fight. Alexandre, he's coming over that short notice win against Colby Thickness. Beat him unanimously, but it was a very dominant unanimous. I remember he got that suplex from the back position. Um, it's even, and I think it's rightfully so even. You know, Begzat, his only loss is to Umar Nurmagomedov. Guy who's right there for the title conversation, of course.
Yep.
Uh, and that, you look at the rest of his wins. I mean, he that was his debut in the UFC. Was with Umar Nurmagomedov. Like that sucks. You come in and you starch a Brad Katona. 14-4. Not a bad loss at all, or a bad win at all. That's pretty good in my opinion, especially if you're getting it by finish. Uh, we're getting a guy very similar to Ilya, a guy that probably plays a little more into the wrestling than Ilya does nowadays. Ilya likes to stand and bang. Alexandre definitely stays close to the roots. His wrestling is very high level. Uh, yeah, I think my pick in this one's gonna be Begzat though. I think I like Begzat a lot here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I got Bexot as well. I think Bexot's gonna be a little bit of a problem for Alexandre. I don't think there's gonna be a finish here.
Yeah,
I think this fight's gonna go to the scorecards. I mean, unless Bexot can just peace out to Poria, I feel like he might be the faster fighter.
he could be. I wonder if Ilya's gonna be in his
He,
corner.
oh, he most definitely is gonna be there. Yeah, I mean that's his brother. If he's not there, he's a piece of
Yeah,
shit.
f him.
But uh this is Timu Topuria Ilya.
Yeah, this is team mood.
This is Timu
That's
Ilya,
funny.
bro. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll most definitely see. I feel like this fight's a pick 'em for a reason,
Yeah,
but I'm right there with you. I am leaning on the side of Bekzat. His only loss in the UFC was literally his fucking debut was against Umar Nurmagomedov, and he
and he
lost
went to a
by decision.
decision. Yeah,
Yeah, and he
big
lost by
deal.
decision, and then came back and in the next fight and knocks out a Brad Katona. So
There's clearly
Topuria
something
took
there.
Topuria took thickness to decision in his debut,
Hmm. The
and I'm
same
pretty sure.
thickness who beat Sais Musasa on scorecards barely.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm most definitely leaning towards the side of Bekzat, and I hope the odds kind of change a little bit
hoping Big Up becomes
for
the
Bekzat.
underdog.
Yeah, Bekzat becomes plus money here.
That'd be awesome. I think he will be. I think by the end of the week, I think people will be like, "Oh, it's Topuria, it's Ilya's brother," and then it's just gonna turn to like a -130 or something. But yeah, let's move on. Next fight in the prelims, we get I've been seeing this guy for fucking forever. Kyoji Horiguchi and then Tagir Ulanbekov. Kyoji got signed to the UFC, got signed back to the UFC like fucking, I think it was before the summer. And I think he had a fight that fell through, if I remember right. I could be wrong about that, but I remember seeing, yeah.
He was supposed to fight
Yeah,
Tagir
back in the summer.
earlier
Yeah,
in the year.
I remember that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they finally ended up making the fight because it is the fight to make here. You got Kyoji Hiraguchi, 34-5. He was the Ryzen GOAT, and he still probably is the Ryzen GOAT. Absolute savage. He did a lot of success over there. You get to Tagir, who is you know, I think out of all the guys that train in Khabib's gym or just are associated with any of them, he's definitely on the lower end of that totem pole. He's definitely one of the more shit guys in that gym. Even at 17-2, it's kind of dirty. We've seen him blatantly grab the fence, and just be dirty. He's not very skilled. He's beating guys like Cody Durden, who almost anyone can beat. Beating a guy like Clayton
Mm.
Carpenter, who we just saw fucking get choked out his last time out by Philo, and we see him beat Izagakmaev, which the records say it was a good fight, but Maxim wasn't really that great, in my opinion. Uh, I mean, I got Horiguchi in this one. I think him being an underdog here is kind of crazy, but I think it is just because of that Dagestani bias, and it makes sense too because if this does go to the scorecards, there could be some home cooking, unfortunately. That
100%.
that kind of seems to be the thing, and whenever we go to these Middle Eastern countries, that the guys that are from Russia or from any of the stands or just anywhere near that area, they tend to get a little bit more of love from the judges. So, if Koji is convincing for 2 rounds, I think he can sneak out a decision win here. Topology kind of agrees with that. And, I think at an underdog price, you can't beat it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this dude's record and holy shit, he has a lot of experience. I mean, 34-5. He was in the UFC a while ago, back in like Demetrius Johnson
Long
days.
time. Yeah,
Fought even,
he fought DJ.
yeah, fought DJ. Unfortunately, he lost. I mean, DJ was the GOAT at that time. Still is the GOAT in my opinion. Um, yeah, I got Kyoji winning this. I am not very impressed by Tagir. Uh, especially coming off that win with Maxim and seeing Maxim's recent fight.
Mm-hmm.
Eh,
Yeah.
I think the dude with more experience coming into this fight is gonna find a win here. But like you were saying, we might see some home cooking if this fight goes to decision, especially if it's close.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be so shocked to see a split here. Kyoji has heavy wrestling in his back pocket. He's got some great hands. Trains at American Top Team, as you can see here. Pretty well known gym, and it's just gonna be a battle of styles here. Whose wrestling is gonna be better, whose striking is gonna be cleaner. Um, yeah, who's just gonna come out with more of the control time. I will probably on fights like these, I might start looking into placing a method of victory as far as like if it's gonna be unanimous or majority or split. Because fights like these, I want to take a split decision on. And I honestly might look at it come fight night if it's a decent price. But we'll look at that on Friday. Moving on though, let's get into the next prelim fight. We got Abdul Rahman Yakhaev versus Rafael Cerqueira. Don't even need to think about it. I'm going Abdul Rahman. Cerqueira on 3-fight losing streak, and he's losing to Ivo Aslan. Not a bad loss. We saw it in Seattle. Got his head taken off. Or
No, we
no,
saw
sorry,
that in
it was
Seattle.
Bukowskis. Yeah, we saw Evo fight Modestus, or no, who did he fight? He fought fucking Ebo Kudalaba, not Ebo,
Yeah,
Ewan. Jesus, dude, I'm terrible with names right now. But yeah, no, Cerqueira, I don't think he has a chance in this one. I think Abdul is going to take his head off. -1,000 favorite. He better fucking get it done. 24 years old, the young buck, the young bull. You know, clearly a savage. He fought on Dana White Contender Series 2 months ago. Got the finish there. This is his debut. I think he's gonna come here and make a statement.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go with the guy that's fucking undefeated, has a lot of finishes under his belt, coming off that knockout finish on Dana White Contender Series. I'm probably not gonna bet on this fight though. I will I will
Just because of
say
the
my pick.
odds.
Yeah, just because of the odds, I will say I got my money on fucking what's his name here?
Abdul Rahman.
Abdul Rahman.
What a name.
Yaki
Fire.
Yakhaev.
The
Yeah,
The
I
Turkish
mean
man.
that's my pick here. You know, against a guy Rafael Sakura. I mean, his last fight was a decision, lost by decision against Julius Walker, which
Was a bar
was
fight.
fucking dog shit. Because I mean, these are big dudes going to fucking decision. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Which they that's besides the point. Anyways, I would have hoped this fight does not go to decision, and I see somebody with their ass and back on the mat. So that's all I could hope for in this fight. I'm probably not even gonna touch it with any of my bets, any of my parlays. But yeah, I would put if I would put my money on Abdul Rahman.
Yeah. Next fight, the featured prelim. This is going to be a banger fight. Luke Riley versus Bogdan Grad. Luke Riley is the other guy in Patty's gym that's on this card, the guy that I was waiting to talk about, versus a Bogdan Grad who's 15-3. Luke Riley undefeated, out of Liverpool, has really good boxing. That's kind of his style. Versus Bogdan Grad who doesn't have hair like this. This guy looks like what's that guy on TikTok? Fuck, dude, I can't think of his name. He looks like this guy though. Uh, I'll show you later, Z. I can't think of it right now.
Hmm.
But that's what that picture reminds me of. Uh, my pick in this one's Luke Riley. I mean, he's the undefeated guy, and another guy training out of the same gym as Patty. You know, he clearly has a style. It's his boxing. This one was knees and punches, so it's pretty significant. He fights out of Cage Warriors, which is the European regional scene. Uh, Pretty significant. I thought this guy was on Contender Series for some reason. I think I'm thinking of a different guy from the Contender Series. I think that's the guy who trains at Lerone Murphy's gym. But regardless, I think Luke Riley gets this one done. This one probably goes to the scorecards as well. We're probably gonna see a lot of fights go to the scorecard on this card, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, no, I definitely got Luke Riley in this one.
I mean, this kid got a lot of knockouts. You
Hmm.
know, he's coming off of a knockout win just little under 8 months ago. Um, Bogdan Grad has been finished. He has been knocked out before.
Hmm. Yeah, he's coming off of a decision loss to Muhammad Naimov. You know, Naimov is that another guy that likes to wrestle a lot too. Um, yeah, I don't know.
If this fight stays on the feet, I most definitely favor Luke Riley getting a win here. Um, curious if it does go to the ground though. You know, like you were saying, he's one of those dudes who trains with Patty, trains out
Yeah,
of that gym.
has no submission wins or
Yeah, has no
losses.
submission wins, but I mean, how many we literally saw Dante Johnson against Cedricus Dumas. Dante Johnson coming off of fucking what was it like 6 knockout wins,
Yeah,
6-0, and then ends up submitting Cedricus Dumas.
yeah,
Nobody saw that coming.
mm.
But yeah, I got Luke Riley winning this fight
Yeah. Be a big win in the debut fight for sure. Grad's not he's
100%.
not bad, but Luke Riley is just that good. I think he's definitely gonna put the pace on Grad here.
Yeah.
Next fight, we get the main card opener. We get Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev. Asu Almabayev is my pick. It's pretty quick for me to say. You know, Alex Perez, he's 1-4 in his last five. He's coming off of a crazy. I remember watching that against Tatsuro Tairo. Tatsuro Tairo was in like the backpack position and then like stuck the leg across and then like snapped Alex Perez's knee uh,
Yeah.
when they went to the ground. And yeah, I don't know how you come back from that kind of leg injury. But regardless of that, you were very inactive. But before you fought Tatsuro, you fought Mateus Nicolau, but then you had a fight against Pantoja over 3 years ago in your last four, and then you strung together three fights in in a 4 month span, but still over a year ago because of that leg injury. But still, but also Almabayev, his one loss is Manel Cop, which was this fight wasn't even supposed to happen if I remember right. Right? It was supposed to be was it Cop and Royval or was it Cop and
I think so.
it was someone else. This fight wasn't even supposed to happen. Asu filled in on short notice, and unfortunately, he lost. I was pretty high on Asu Malbayev at the time because he came on against Jose Johnson, TJ Vergara, who was kind of an interesting fighter at the time. Beat Nicolau, who was another solid prospect, and then he beat Jose Ochoa in his last fight out, which is a big win because Jose Ochoa is a big flyweight. He's got dangerous hands, dangerous kicks. Asu just has that. He just has that suffocating wrestling. And I think that's where he's gonna get Perez here, and I think he's gonna either get Perez in a crucifix or he's just gonna dominate the ground positions and I would like to think Asu gets a submission win here. I feel like that's kind of the style I'm seeing here. Um, we saw Tatsu Taira win. Even though it was an injury, it was from a back take. I like Asu in this one. I like Asu to just dominate this and get him out of there.
I like the favor of Alex Perez.
Is he the favorite?
I'm picking. No, I said I like the
Okay.
favor of Alex
Okay.
Perez. I am taking the underdog in this fight, which is Alex Perez. I think Perez is just that big of a dog, dude. I truly believe Alex Perez is a dog of a fighter. I mean, yeah, he got absolutely bitched by Tyra, and
He
he
tried
got
to make a
that
professional
injury.
fight 3 times. Holy shit.
He got that
4
injury.
times.
He's been inactive since that injury.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look at some of the other losses that he's faced. He lost to Pantoja, lost to Muhammad Makhaev, and then lost to Tyra. I mean, he came off that knockout win against Matheus Nicolau, which Asu beat,
MMA
but
math.
by decision.
MMA math.
But by decision.
Mm-hmm.
I think Alex Perez is gonna do what Manel Cop did to Asu. I feel like I said, I just think Alex Perez is just gonna have more of that dog in him. I could be completely wrong here. Could be completely wrong here, and maybe this injury just absolutely fucks with Alex Perez in the rest of his career
Mm-hmm.
going forward. But I would hope, a fighter coming off that layoff, especially being that in that type of position where it feels like, fuck, this might be it.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope he comes out of here with some fireworks. And he most definitely has some fucking hands, dude. Alex Perez he has some nice striking.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if Manel Cop can put out Asu, maybe Alex Perez, holds up some of the wrestling early on.
Mm-hmm.
Takes it into the later rounds and finds that finish.
Yeah.
Who knows? But my pick here is most definitely Alex Perez.
Okay. Moving on to the next fight on the main card, we get the heavyweights. We get Sergey Spivac versus Shamil Gaziev, the Blob. Call him the Blob. This is a weird one because you got Sergey Spivac, who's like a well versed grappler. We saw him beat fucking Marcin Tybura by armbar. That was a main event fight. And then he's off 2 back-to-back losses to Almeida and Cortez, 2 top heavyweights. He also has a loss to Cyril Gahn. Rounding out his losses in his top 5 is all guys that are literally, top 5 guys in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
And then Blob loses to Rosenstrike, Biggie Boy, who's not even in the UFC anymore. He's over at I think he's at the KSW or Karate Combat or something like that. I don't remember where he is actually, to be honest with you. But he's not here. Gaziev, though, he's got a win over Dontel Mays, not in the UFC anymore. Got a win over Thomas Peterson, who has proven to be decent. I think he's the wrestler from Minnesota, if I remember right. I could be wrong about that, but I kind of
No, he got bitched by Petrino.
who
That Oh, wait,
He
I thought you were talking about the dude
Peterson.
that yeah, Thomas Peterson.
He's the wrestler from Minnesota though, or he wrestled in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
well, he
Uh,
stinks.
he fought a heavyweight Petrino. Heavyweight Petrino is a mythical creature. I'm
He
taking
beat
the
he beat Dontel Mays on a decision.
yeah.
Okay, we're getting off track. We're getting
No,
off
you're
track.
good. You're good. You're good. I'm taking the side of Spivak though. I think Spivak's gonna bounce back here. I think he's gonna get Gaziev stuck on his ass because Gaziev is not he's not built for the wrestling. You seen the guy? He's a literal blob. He's got the brick build. You draw SpongeBob and you put arms on it and that's Shamil Gaziev.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I got Sergey Spivak winning this fight.
He's
You
the
know, one thing you
underdog,
had
man.
pointed, yeah, one thing you had pointed out is Sergey Spivak has lost to dudes who are in the top 5 in their division.
Yeah,
I think Buddy's gonna have a lot more experience, and
dude,
maybe
they're heavy on this Gaziev KO prop. Fucking wow, dude. I mean that's how he's getting finished. I mean, he went to a decision with Walter Cortez, which Cortez has a lot of power in his hands. He's a heavy boxer. Almeida getting out by Almeida is kind of the red flag for me because we saw Almeida against Volkov, didn't even throw a strike, just hug fucked him. But yeah, dude, I think he's very very live in this one. I think I'm gonna take Spivak 100%.
Spivak submission.
That's kind of what I'm looking at. I mean, he did lose his only losses to Biggie Boy was by KO. Retirement. So did he retire? He must have quit on the stool. But yeah, I like Spivak, man. I think Spivak gets this one done. I mean,
Yeah, I'm going with the underdog as well.
yeah. Next fight. This is what I was talking about, bro. Okay, so Jack Hermansson versus Mitrovic Orolbai. This is let's read the weight class first of all. This is welterweight, 170. This is Jack Hermansson, a middleweight who was a contender at one point. 37 years old, cutting down to fight a lower weight class after you got your ass beat by RoboCop. It's a red flag, 100%. I'm not even gonna question it. My pick in this one's Orolbai. I think Orolbai is gonna be the more suffocating wrestler, and he was in a war that lost with Mateusz Rebetsky. I mean that he looked like Joanna against Zhang Wei Li. Like that dude had welts all over his head. Uh, and yeah, I just like Mitrovic Orolbai. He is the Neanderthal. I mean, look at brother.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know why Jack Hermansson's cutting down. It's a really weird decision by him. Who knows if he's even going to make the weight? Who knows what the weight cut looks like at 37 years of age when you're used to fighting at middleweight, you almost your whole career, and then you come down to what do I say, welterweight. It's kind of a red flag in my opinion. I feel like it's a mistake. I think Mitrovic Rolbai is gonna just totally take advantage of it and implement the wrestling. Do I think he's gonna get him out of there? He could. I mean, Jack Hermansson's been chinned. Uh, you know, in two losses in his last five. This one was almost 3 years ago to Roman Dolidze, and then you got RoboCop, who we saw land that left hook. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like Rolbai in this one.
you can't go against it. I mean, you gotta go with Orolbai. I mean, everything is right here. At the end of the day, we could be completely fucking wrong, and maybe Jack
And
Hermansson just,
stupid.
just yeah, just found some fucking awakening at 37 years old, 24 and 9 in his MMA career. Maybe
Mm,
he just found the thing, and he made the decision to come down to welterweight. I I don't think he finds a win anyway here.
no,
Anyway, you look at his record, he just got bitched by Gregory Rodriguez in the first.
he did beat a Joe Piper though.
He beat a Joe Piper. He beat a Joe Piper, but to be fair as well, like
Piper needed that loss because
uh,
now look at Piper.
yeah, after that, Piper's coming off of he's on a 3-fight win streak.
Mm,
Um, but regardless, the gaps in these fights prior to that Joe Piper win, He fought in 2022 and got bitched by Delize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
They just
He's not active at all.
he's not active, and he's 37 years old, coming up against a guy who is a very, very huge prospect. He has a lot of hype behind him, and there's a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were talking about he's coming off that loss, but it was a fucking war against Mateusz Rebecki.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, he fucking finished Euros Medic.
Who is looking really good now? He bounced back too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a big win, and he won last time out against Tafik Musayev, Kimura.
Hmm.
I mean, he's just dangerous, man. I think he's live for a finish in this one, 100%. I think
Not even.
I don't know what Hermansson's
Oh,
gonna look like. I think his energy is gonna be depleted having to cut this weight.
yeah, I mean, you're coming off that fucking finish loss, and your decision is to cut weight and then accept the fight against Orolbai.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
nah. I got my money on Orolbai.
I like it. Next fight, we get another solid striker's delight here. In the light heavyweight division, we get Volkan Oezdemir and Alonzo Menifield. Mm, mm,
Say it.
mm. I think I got to go Volkan because he lost to Carlos Ulberg and he lost to Krylov 3 years ago, which was like the good Krylov. Um, and didn't Volkan fight fucking didn't he fight DC at one point? Am I drunk? He fought Reyes. Oh, he did fight DC. That's right. You know, he was a title challenger at one point. You know, he's not bad. His losses are against quality competition. Ulberg obviously he's in the title conversation. Alonzo Menifield was a linebacker at Alabama. Comes in, he loses to Ulberg as well. But you know, you go to war with Ulberg and you get a decision loss. Alonzo goes and he gets bitched in the first like 20 seconds of that fight. Gets dropped, smoked out of there. And then you fight a Mirzakhanov, who I mean, this is an understandable loss, 100%. We saw Mirzakhanov what he did his last fight. We're like, you know, this guy's just him. There's nothing you can do about it.
I mean, yeah, 100%.
That dude's got plot armor. Uh, yeah, I like Vulcan in this one. I think Vulcan could potentially get a finish here. The dude's got heavy hands. We've seen Menifield get put out a few times. Yeah, I mean that's what everyone's thinking. It's either KO or decision here for sure. And hey, I like Vulcan to to get him out of there. I think Vulcan 100% could.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. I got Vulcan. I got Vulcan by knockout. I mean, look at his record. I mean, yeah, he's coming off that loss against Carlos Ulberg, but
Killed Johnny Walker
Carlos,
last time out.
yeah, killed Johnny Walker. Killed
Beat a
no,
Gustav.
I want to say killed him, but yeah, choked him out.
Hmm.
That Carlos Ulberg loss, I mean, that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Menifield, dude, which I mean, he was hot for a second.
Yeah, he beat Julius Walker, who we saw this fight live at Seattle. That
But
shit was
Walker was coming in short notice.
this shit was a bar fight. Alonzo Menifield cut open his toe in this fight. I remember he showed that.
Mm,
And then he beat Umar Say. This was an impressive win. This is a win that if he does what he did in this Umar Sai fight, Alonzo Menifield could come out on top in this one on the scorecards. But I don't think in any way he's getting a finish on Vulcan. I think if there is a finish, it's on the side of Vulcan knocking out Alonzo Menifield. Uh, and that's how I see this playing out. I don't see any other way for this to play out any other way. I think Vulcan gets this done inside the
Nah,
distance.
I don't see Metafield possibly taking down Vulcan. Vulcan's too huge, dude.
He's
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 way
a
too
big boy.
huge.
He's like RoboCop, bro.
Yeah,
One of the thumb people.
yeah, he is most definitely a thumb person. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to think about how this dude makes this weight class. Because I mean, he is a thick dude.
Mhm.
Fucking thumb person 100%. And like, yeah, it says 200, 205 pounds coming into the fight, but I mean, this dude probably weighs about like 250.
He comes in like a thick boy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about, what happens overnight with the weight cuts because it's all just water weight.
Mm. You're just absolutely drained of all the water in your system.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think Vulcan gets this done for sure.
Yeah. I got Vulcan as well. By knockout too.
Why
I
not?
think he puts Alonzo Menifield's ass out.
Yeah. Moving on to the co-main. This fight is a big deal because one, it's a 3 rounder, and two, it sets the landscape up for the welterweight division.
It's
Tells
crazy that it's a 3 rounder.
Yeah, I feel like this was a 5 rounder. We would learn a lot more about these guys. But to be fair, the other welterweight fights from 322 were 3 rounders. So I mean,
Yeah.
whatever he can get done in this one, who knows? But we got Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Garry. My pick in this one is Ian Garry, 100%. I think the way he manages range is gonna be it's gonna be kind of like the catalyst. It's gonna be what the kind of decides how this fight plays out. If Ian Garry can keep that distance and counter wrestle Bilal the way he wrestled with Michael Venom Page, and just could just control his distance, poke away, fight off the back foot how he normally does. Like he looks like he's getting away, but he's still piecing you up on the way out. Bilal, he said in his interview, I forget who it was with, but he said that he wants to strike with Ian Garry, kind of like what he said with fucking Leon Edwards. Uh, Kind of a silly decision. I think Bilal needs to go back to his roots if he wants to win and get back in the title conversation. He needs to wrestle. He needs to just be boring. That's what he is. It's okay to be boring. Uh, but Ian Garry, dude, I mean, I think he has to get a finish if he wants to be in that conversation. I don't think a decision win's gonna get him that title shot. Yes, you're on the win streak. Yes, you're doing the right things, being the guys you're supposed to. But you got Michael Morales, who just knocked out Sean Brady, a guy who's a rank ahead of you. You got Michael. You got Carlos Prates, who just beat Leon Edwards, the former champ, by knockout, who's never been knocked out before. Who beat the guy you're fighting, Bilal Muhammad. If you're Ian Garry, you gotta do something impressive if you want that title shot. Um,
Gary's not really on a win streak here.
no, he had that
He
loss. He
was.
had that loss
He
to
was.
Shavkat. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I mean that was a tough fight for him. I mean, Shavkat. If I had to rank it, depending on how this fight plays out, if I had to rank it by I think who gets the title shot, number one, Michael Morales. Number two, Prates. Three, Shavkat. Four, Ian Garry. Especially if Ian Garry gets a decision. If Shavkat would have it over Ian Garry because he's beat him already. But you could flip him just because of the activity window. Shavkat hasn't been active at all in the last almost 2 years. So that's kind of the question mark. And he says he's ready to go or come early next year. So
Is this crazy to say that if Ian Gary were to win here, which okay, my pick here is Ian Gary.
mhm.
Um, is it crazy to say that if Ian Gary wins here, Carlos Prates and Ian Gary happens again, and then Morales goes to fight for the title?
I mean, I don't know. The window the timeline is working really weird because Islam wants to fight at the 4th of July card,
Yeah,
and it's really a draw out of the cap because all these fights are happening right now. There's no way another fight's gonna happen between now and the July card, or happen between for any of these guys. If you do a number one contender fight, you're gonna do it on the 4th of July card, and then it would be decided after the 4th of July card, probably November, December, like how Islam fought this year. It's someone's gonna lose out. Obviously, like someone's gonna miss out on the title shot. It just kind of is what it is, and that's for the matchmakers to decide. But
yeah.
I think that it has to be Prates or Morales just because of the finish factor and the way they did it in the impressive fashion they did. Uh, but I
And
think
the dudes they finish as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's got to be Morales though because he's undefeated. He's a well liked guy, uh, and he beat a guy who beat smoked Leon Edwards, submitted Leon Edwards, and that kind of feels like the formula. You beat the former champ, and you beat a guy who is super highly skilled, and you get your shot. I think Morales did that. And so it really just comes down to how Ian Garry treats this fight. He saw all this stuff from last week, and luckily he's the last guy to fight, so he kind of gets to set the landscape himself here with this fight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I got Gary winning this fight. One thing I do want to say though is if Bilal wants to win here, he needs to be very heavy pressure on Ian Gary and
Chase him
to
down,
really,
run him
yeah,
down.
chase him down, and not only chase him down with his boxing and get close in the pocket, but like you were saying, go back to your roots, dude, and implement that heavy wrestling. I mean, Islam didn't want to move up to welterweight because of you.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you were training with him. I'm sure you were in those camps, whatever. I know Bilal has some pretty heavy wrestling, but like you were saying, Gary has that really clean, distant managing um in these fights. And I feel like Gary's just gonna be really annoying for Bilal Muhammad.
yeah,
And I think Ian Gary is probably gonna edge out on the decision win. I don't think he's gonna finish Bilal Muhammad.
no.
I don't think he is.
If he,
Maybe a submission. I mean, Gary is gonna be the bigger fighter.
yeah,
Maybe he finds him up against the
that'd be
cage,
crazy.
finds Bilal's back, because like you were saying, Ian Gary needs the finish.
Mm,
He goes to decision. I don't think he's gonna get a title shot
no,
in a
no,
3 rounder when Prates finished Leon Edwards in the second, and then Morales finishes Brady in the first. Yeah, dude, I don't think you're gonna get a title shot if you take this fight to decision.
yeah.
But
The one problem I see with this though is that if Ian Gary wins a decision, one, he's still winning. He's still top of the rankings. He beat Bilal Muhammad, who was what, number
yeah,
two or three on the rankings.
yeah,
I feel like it kind of fucks over Morales. I feel like Morales ends up getting the draw for Ian Gary
fuck
because
it, make Morales versus Gary. Fuck it,
because Ian Gary can't fight
fuck it.
Shavkat. Ian Gary can't fight Shavkat. He probably wouldn't fight Praches because they've all already fought. It'd probably be Praches versus Shavkat, and then they either do the Ilya Islam fight, which I really doubt they do, or they do the Usman fucking Islam fight, which would be
You you
stupid
you,
as fuck.
you know what, dude? I think you just drew it all up right there. I really think you just drew it up right there. I I think it might be Prates versus Shavkat, Morales versus Gary for the number one contender spot,
Yeah,
for the true number one contender spot, and then we're gonna see some bullshit fight and Kamaru Usman versus Islam,
yeah,
probably at the White House.
yeah. Hopefully not, but I really feel like that's kind of the direction we're headed because Islam said he wants
Yeah,
that. Because
honestly.
Islam said he wants that fight, and they're already trying to market it a little bit because Cejudo and Usman were talking on their podcast about the fight and how it'd be a great fight. It's just like it really wouldn't be a great fight though. I don't think it would be. I think the style matches up great, but Islam is just
I think
nasty
nah,
right now.
I think it would be a good fight. I mean, yes, Islam is a fucking nasty wrestler, and it would be a 5 round fight. But I mean, look back at Kamaru Usman versus Hamzat.
Yeah,
He was giving Hamzat some issues with wrestling. And I mean, yeah, that fight was at middleweight. I don't know. Nah, maybe Islam just takes out fucking Kamaru Usman's cobblestone knees and then just fucking holds him on the ground. But
yeah.
yeah, my pick in this fight though is Ian Machado, the cuck Gary.
Mm,
Um, yeah, like I
yeah.
said earlier, or in our other video, how the fuck did he beat Prates, bro? That is just insane to me, dude. That Prates is just knocking out these dudes, and then he loses to Gary, bro. Nah, something fishy happened there. Gary most definitely let Prates fuck his wife or some shit,
Rochester was off the malt
and
liquor.
Yeah, dude, Garry, because apparently now Garry and fucking Prates are like best friends, dude. They were hanging out during the Gene Silva fight on the fucking on the sidelines, fucking whatever. I mean, let's move on.
That's for another day. All right, yeah.
It
Ian Gary's
all
our
in
pick.
all in all, my pick here is Garry. I don't like him though. I don't really like Garry. I think he's fucking annoying.
Yeah. All right, getting to the main event. Before we get into it, though, guys, if we could, again, leave a like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it as always. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah, if you stuck around this long with the video you've been watching, we appreciate you. And let's get into it. The main event for UFC Qatar, Arman Tsarukyan and Dan Hooker.
what's your
How
pick
you
here?
feel about this show?
You want
My
me to
pick,
start? No, no, no.
nah, I'll start this. Honestly, given recent fights and just seeing how some of these heavy wrestling grappling guys have won their fights, I gotta go with Arman Tsarukyan, especially against a fighter who is very heavy in striking. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go with the guy who's a heavy wrestler and a heavy grappler. And another thing as well that I'm seeing here on Tapology is that though Arman Tsarukyan canceled or pulled out of his fight with Islam, he has been pretty active in a lot of grappling outside of
Mm-hmm.
the UFC. At the end of the day, though, Armin is a bitch. He is a pussy. He is he, he'd absolutely whoop my ass. He'd absolutely starch me.
He'd axe kicked your head
But
off.
yeah, he'd fucking kill me. But he is a polished silver spoon fed baby back little bitch. He pulled out of that fight. He pulled out of that fight against Islam
Oh.
at the last fucking second.
And they,
Nah,
and, it,
fuck Armin.
and they
Fuck
feed and they
Armin.
feed
I
Islam
got
Volcano.
I got Dan Hooker. I got Dan Hooker winning here. I got Dan Hooker by possible fucking knockout as well.
You didn't.
I think I think Dan Hooker could get it done. Fuck Armin. I think Armin is a little polished silver spoon fed baby back bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
Cook
the
him, cook
Aussie.
him.
I got the Kiwi. Dan fucking Hooker. And Buddy's tatted up.
He's
Dan
yadded
Hooker's
up
all
now,
yeah.
dude.
He's all yadded up, bro.
Look at
And
him, naked model right here, dude. That's not Dan Hooker.
and another thing as well is Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's been like real quiet. He hasn't been fighting
Well, he had hand surgery.
because he did have that hand surgery, but then
Yeah,
also apparently he was beefing with the UFC too.
yeah.
You know,
Kind of
they
like
didn't.
Gaethje.
Yeah,
That
they
disrespect.
kind. Yeah, they kind of fucked him a little bit, but they're giving him, I would say, most definitely a title contender shot here
Oh
if
yeah.
he were to win against Arman Tsarukyan.
Oh, 100%. If he beats Armin, that's like you're on the fast track to the title shot.
I mean, he took Gamrot to decision,
They both played. They
you know,
both
and
fought
Gam
Gamrot.
yeah, and they yeah, they've both beat Gamrot,
No,
and I
no, Armin
mean,
lost.
oh, Armin lost to Gamrot.
Yeah, lost
Oh,
unanimously.
well, if you want to play MMA math here, Dan Hooker beating Gamrot. Dan Hooker beats
And
Armin.
that's a pretty big deal because Gamrot, he has that same style as Armin, and for Armin to lose to the wrestling style of Gamrot and Hooker beat that wrestling style, however the fuck he beat that. I remember watching it. I think that was UFC. Was that UFC 300? A year and 2 months ago.
No, it wasn't.
What
It was a different event.
which card was that? Oh, 305. It was a little bit after. Yeah, 305. Yeah, but I remember we were at the casino watching that one, and it was really close. It came down to that third round.
Yeah, the power kept going out.
Yeah. That was that
We were
card. That's right.
we were watching it on our phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only way, especially with this being a 5 rounder, I do see Armin gassing out Dan Hooker and finding a submission, or maybe just being a boring fighter and just finding finding the win on the scorecards.
Mm,
I think Dan Hooker, he has that dog in him where he doesn't want to quit.
yeah.
I mean, he was in that fight with Gamrot, goes back to his stool mid fight, and he's just like, "Boys, I fucking love this shit." And his face is all fucking swollen and shit. He ate that insane fucking head kick by Jalen Turner and then just turns it around and just finishes Jalen Turner. Almost chokes him. Oh no, I don't think he finishes him. I think he wins by decision. I'm not a
Right.
hundred
Yeah, he
percent.
won
Yeah,
on a
wins
split.
wins by split, but he almost fucking choked him out at the end of that round. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the only way I see Hooker winning here is just fucking using a lot of that anti-grappling that he used against like Gamrot, fucking just standing back up, just pulling a Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
What the fuck is BJJ and just standing up.
Yeah.
Um, and Hooker just keeping this fight on the feet because he is a fucking scary boxer, scary striker,
He's a scrapper.
and yeah, he's most definitely a scrapper, and he can land some clean shots on you.
Yeah. Yeah. My pick in this one has to be Armin because of the jujitsu background and the heavy wrestling that he can implement. And we've seen Dan Hooker get dropped by guys like Michael Chandler. It was a flash knockout, but it was a knockout in Chandler's debut. We've seen Dan Hooker get fucking his arm ripped off by Islam. I remember watching that Kimura. Uh, if Armin can be heavy in the top game like that and get him down, and he gets Hooker stuck early. I think that spells the end of it pretty quick. Armin's gonna come in this pissed off because he thinks he's already earned his title shot, even though he pulled out of his fight with Islam. Um, yeah, I mean now you win. Guess what? You get the other fucking annoying guy. You get Ilya. Uh, I mean, I think whoever wins this gets Ilya regardless. I think whoever Ilya fights next, whether it's Patty or Justin Gaethje, this is the next guy in line for sure. I don't know if they're gonna have that on the Paramount card opener, the Ilya versus whoever fight, but they got to make that fight soon because lightweight's starting to getting kind of stale. Feels like the best division right now is 100% welterweight.
Yeah,
It used to be
100%.
lightweight, but I feel like it's kind of grown stale a little bit. So yeah, I think they need to spice it up, and I think this fight is gonna get things moving pretty quickly.
Yeah, another thing I want to say is this is most definitely Dan Hooker's last chance here.
Oh yeah.
This is his last chance getting close to being in the talks for a title shot.
Mm.
He's 35 years old. Um, yeah, if he were to lose here,
It
I think
sets
he's
them
just
back a
gonna,
bit.
yeah, that most definitely sets him back, and I feel like that sets him to the point where he's just one of those dudes who's like, "Oh, Dan Hooker's fighting? Oh shit," you know what I mean?
It's just gonna be
Just one
fun
of those,
fights.
yeah, just one of those names that are gonna be on the card.
Mm.
No disrespect to Dan Hooker. I mean, no disrespect at all. But I feel like that's just the way the game plays when you're at this point in your career and you finally get this shot where you're fighting a dude who was gonna fight for the title
Yeah.
and now you're fighting him.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is a bigger opportunity for Dan Hooker than it is for Armin. I
Mm.
mean, Armin wins here against Dan Hooker. It's like he was gonna fight Islam. He beat Charles Oliveira. He knocked out Dariush. Um, yeah,
Mm.
you know what I mean. It's like it's make it or break it for Dan Hooker, in my opinion. So that's also another reason why I'm kind of leaning on Dan Hooker as well. I know I kind of said that in a lot of other fights previous, and a lot of those fighters lost. For example, Slava Claus. Pretty sure
Mm.
Slava Claus is going to get cut now, but Dan Hooker, he's shown us some shit before, dude. He's
Mm.
most definitely shown us that he has a lot of heart and a lot of dog in him,
Mm.
so hopefully that hand surgery that he had went well, and his fucking boxing and his striking is looking the same, if not better.
Yeah.
Because I think Dan Hooker could possibly edge out a win here against Arman Tsarukyan, as long as he keeps it on that feet and he does not allow Arman to have a lot of dominant positions and a lot of control on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one's gonna end inside the distance. I have a hard time
I would
seeing Dan.
hope so.
I have a hard time seeing Dan Hooker make it 5 rounds. To be honest with you,
Yeah, that's another thing
I
as
think
well.
I think he'd have to get a finish against Armin.
Yeah. Or he just have to absolutely hurt him. He'd have to hurt Armin to the point where Armin is getting drained, and he's getting drained fast.
Mm,
Because we've seen that. We've seen that a lot where fighters will get hurt early on, but they still survive throughout the rounds. But obviously, they're not fighting they're not fighting at that 100%,
yeah.
regardless of, that break in between rounds.
Yeah.
It could be leg kicks, body shots, which I feel like Dan Hooker might implement a lot of.
Mm,
Because you got a smaller guy who's gonna be looking for that grappling, that those takedowns, and trying to get you down on the ground. A dude like Dan Hooker being the taller fighter, being a little bit longer, and your kicks, your strikes,
mm.
keep that range and fucking attack his body, attack his legs.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
Dan Hooker, he's nasty striker.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
No, you're cooking. You're cooking. I think Dan Hooker is a very live dog, 100%. I mean, Topology
No.
definitely is Neapolitan here with a Tsarukyan line. They definitely think he can get it done.
See,
Anyway, they think a KO though. That's kind of crazy. I think it's either
see,
submission or decision if it's Tsarukyan.
that's why I said all that in the beginning, because I mean, at the end of it, just going off of being a fan of Dan Hooker, and like I had said earlier, seeing a lot of these recent fights with these dudes who have this type of background where it's heavy wrestling, heavy grappling, top position. Yeah, you got to go with Armin. You got to go with Armin. But
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with some of the dudes that are picking that as well. I don't see this fight going to a decision because, yeah, you got Armin Sarukian, like you were saying, is
Mm-hmm.
mad because he thinks he should be getting a title shot. And then you got Dan Hooker, who's on Last Chance U right now. Um, I don't see this fight. I don't see this fight going the distance. Both these guys, like I said, as much as Armin needs that win to get back in that position to fighting the title. It's not that impressive getting that win from Dan Hooker, as if Dan Hooker goes and fucking finishes Arman Sarukian or even wins against Arman Sarukian. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways,
All right, guys. Well, that is it for our full card breakdown picks. We appreciate you if you watch this all the way through. I hope you guys learned something along the way. Hopefully, you're a bit more confident in your pick. Um, and when Friday rolls around, you'll be able to see us make our picks, go over some of the betting lines, and build some parlays for you guys to tail if you want to tail with us.
yeah. Yeah, like always, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for sticking around and watching our videos. We appreciate the support. And as always, stay cozy.
Stay cozy. We'll see you Friday. Peace.